If you're pouring your heart into your podcast, but still struggling to turn those listeners into paying clients, I've got something just for you. Imagine having a clear, simple plan to turn your listeners into buyers without relying on a huge audience or spending hours on social media. That's exactly what we'll create together in a podcast profit plan discovery call. During this free 20-minute call, I'll help you discover more opportunities for profit in your podcast and give you the next best step to turn your show into a client attracting machine. If I've got an offer that will help you expedite this process, then we can also discuss working together. Book your free podcast profit plan discovery call now by going to podcastingformoms.co/profit plan or by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to chat with you. If your podcast feels off, like you've outgrown your old content, your downloads have dipped, or you're constantly avoiding your mic, I have good news. You don't need a new show. You just need a reset. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to refresh your podcast without starting over from scratch. Welcome to Podcasting for Moms, the show for moms in business ready to start, grow, and scale a podcast that turns their listeners into buyers. I'm Jenny Sonneson, a podcast strategist and fellow mom entrepreneur. You're in the right place if you want to learn how to start and grow a podcast that attracts your ideal clients and really does the heavy lifting for you when it comes to selling your offers, all while balancing life as a busy mom. Are you ready to create a podcast that grows your income, impact, and influence? Let's make podcasting work for you because as moms, we know how to get things done. All right, let's jump into the episode. Hey, and welcome back to Podcasting for Moms, the show that helps you start, grow, and sustain a podcast in the margins of motherhood. I'm your host, Jenny Sonneson, a podcast strategist, mom of two, and your go-to girl for simplifying this whole podcasting thing. So today we're talking about one of the big questions that I get all the time, and that is, Jenny, my podcast feels off. Do I need to start over? And the answer here is almost always no. You do not need a fresh feed, you do not need to delete everything, and you do not need to go into witness protection and reemerge with a new show. You probably just need a reset. And today I'm going to be walking you through exactly how to hit the reset button on your podcast without starting from scratch. If you've been feeling stuck, inconsistent, unaligned, or just meh about your show lately, then this episode's your permission slip to breathe again. Let's jump in. So first, I want to normalize something. So every podcaster, whether they've been at this for 6 months or 6 years, hits a season where their show just doesn't feel quite right. And here are the most common signs. You're struggling to plan episodes, but you're not excited. You're struggling to plan episodes because you're not excited about your own topics. You're unclear on who you're actually speaking to anymore. Your episodes feel scattered or disconnected. Your downloads have plateaued or dipped. Your podcast doesn't align with your business anymore. And your life season has changed. Hello, motherhood. And what worked before just isn't working now. So if any of this sounds a little too real, you're not failing. Your podcast is just asking for a tune-up. Because podcasts are living, breathing parts of your business, especially for moms, they evolve with you and they shift as you shift. And sometimes they need a reset, not a complete reboot. So how do we fix this? So first up, you want to reconnect with your current season. So before you touch your mic, your branding, or your content plan, I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself the following question. Who am I speaking to right now? And who do I actually want to speak to? Because so many mom podcasters try to hold onto their old season of life and business, and then they wonder why their content feels off. So ask yourself these questions. What season am I in as a mom? What season am I in as a business owner? What's important to me right now? What's important to my audience right now? What feels exciting to talk about? What feels heavy, forced, or out of alignment? This is truly the foundation of your reset. Alignment equals momentum, clarity equals consistency, and excitement equals energy. Once you reconnect with your current season, everything else becomes so much easier. Okay, the second step here is to reestablish your podcast mission. So now that you're clear on your current season, it's time to revisit your mission. Your mission 3 years ago, when you started your show, probably not the same mission that you have today. So let's refine it. Your mission is who you help plus what you help them do plus why it matters. So here's an example. I help busy mom entrepreneurs launch and grow a podcast that supports their business without burning out or overcomplicating the process. This is simple, clear, and relevant. If your mission has shifted, then your content should shift too. A reset allows your podcast to evolve without abandoning everything that you've built. The third step here is to clarify your content pillars. So this is usually where podcasters start to feel off because what they used to talk about just doesn't fit anymore. So your pillars should be aligned with your mission, aligned with your offers, aligned with your audience's needs, and aligned with your life season. So for example, for a mom entrepreneur podcast, your pillars might look like this. So for example, for a mom entrepreneur podcast about podcasting, your pillars might look like this. Sustainable podcasting, podcast growth and visibility, monetization through offers, not sponsorships, time-saving systems and batching, as well as mom life and business balance. A reset is a perfect time to prune anything that feels out of alignment so that you can focus on topics that actually move your audience and your business forward. The fourth step here is to create a reset episode or series. So you do not need to announce your reset, but sometimes it feels good to bring your audience along. So this can be something like a behind the scenes, here's what's changing episode, a new season, new direction announcement, a here's what to expect moving forward type update, or a mini reset series where you warm them up for the new direction. You can say something like, hey there, I've been feeling a shift happening in my life and business, and it's time for the show to evolve with me. So moving forward, you're going to hear more about X and less about Y. People appreciate transparency, but they appreciate your clarity even more. The fifth step is optional, but it is refresh your format. So a reset is the perfect time to make small enhancements to your show's format. Nothing dramatic, just little shifts that make your podcast feel easier and more aligned. Some ideas here are switching from weekly to bi-weekly or vice versa, shortening episodes to 10 to 15 minutes if your season is a busy one, adding monthly guest interviews, adding a monthly mom moment or Q&A, creating theme weeks or series, and adding reset rounds, spotlight episodes, or behind-the-scenes strategy sessions. This isn't about reinventing the wheel, it's about making the wheel even smoother. The sixth step here is to reset your system. So if your system is broken, your consistency will always feel like a struggle. This is a great moment to simplify, where you can refresh your workflow, rebuild your batching schedule, reorganize your Trello or ClickUp or Notion podcast board, update your deadlines, and set new boundaries for recording time. Ask yourself the following question. What would make podcasting feel easy again? And go and do that. The next seventh step here is to batch your next 4 to 6 episodes. A reset means nothing if you don't take aligned action. So batch 4 to 6 new episodes that reflect your updated mission, your updated pillars, your updated season, and your updated energy. This becomes your reset season starter kit. These episodes should feel simpler, clearer, lighter, more purposeful, and more you. If they don't, revisit your pillars and tweak again. Step 8 is to keep what's working. So here's the thing that most podcasters get wrong. A reset does not mean throwing away your best work. You want to keep your top episodes, your SEO-friendly topics, your brand assets that still align, your existing call to actions, your audience relationships, and your momentum. I want you to refine, not erase. Some of your old content will still help new listeners discover you, and that's a good thing. The final step, step 9, is to release perfection and embrace evolution. So I want you to repeat after me. My podcast is allowed to evolve as I evolve. And here's the truth. Your audience doesn't want a perfect podcaster. They want a human one, a mom one, a real one. They want you. And hitting reset without starting over is one of the most powerful ways to keep showing up with clarity, confidence, and momentum. All right, so that's what I got for you today. If you are craving a podcast reset and you want support mapping out your content, simplifying your workflow, and finding clarity in your next season, I would love to have you join us inside the Moms Behind the Mic Society, which is my membership for mom podcasters who want to grow their show sustainably. Inside, you'll get things like content planning support, quarterly workshops, templates, pep talks, community, and ongoing tools to make podcasting feel simple again. You do not have to podcast alone. Head to the link in the show notes to learn more and join us inside. And if this episode supported you, send me a DM on Instagram at Podcasting for Moms and tell me what your reset's going to look like. You've got this, and I'm cheering you on always. Thank you for tuning into Podcasting for Moms. I hope today's episode gave you the tools and inspiration you need to make your podcast work smarter, not harder. If you love what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. It means the world and helps other moms in business find the show. For more tips, resources, and support, head to podcastingformoms.co. Remember, you're not just building a podcast, you're building your legacy. Until next time, friends.